I want to introduce to you my good friend. Her name is Laura Govin. You probably already know who she is. You've seen her on my page, and you've also, of course, seen her on Basketball Wives LA. She was on that for like 2 years, and and now she's working on some little secret TV show project that we can't really talk too much about, but we are so excited to see what's in store for her in the future. Please welcome Laura Govin. All right, my beautiful.
Hello, everyone.
This is Laura, and her Instagram page is Laura M. Govin, and you can find her on my Instagram, and you can find her just by searching Laura M. Govin. And what we've done today is we've already done her eyes and her lips. This is just a contouring class, so I'm going to explain the face. But if you have any questions later on regarding her eye makeup or anything, I'm happy to answer any of those questions. So, let's get started. Okay. So, I'm going to be, do you guys want me to get closer? Probably, right? Let's inch this closer. You don't need to see my face anymore. It's all about Laura. If this is good, let's good. Yeah, I think this is good to go. Right? Okay. So first things first, Laura has nothing on her face at all. This is how amazingly beautiful she naturally looks just waking up. So jealous. But anyway, we're going to get started with some primer. I'm a very simple girl. I like primers that don't have any SPF and no shimmer. Why? Because I use so much layers of stuff over it that if my primer had shimmer, it would be covered anyway. So why am I going to be all fussy and get a primer with all this fancy stuff when it's not even going to show? Yes. All right, I'm using my fingers, yes, because I'm a very hands-on person, and I love having that contact with my clients. It gives you a little bit more control of the situation by you holding on to them. Touching them makes them feel more comfortable with you on a different level than using brushes. So you might notice that I'm going to be using my fingers for a lot of stuff. Of course I love brushes. I'm going to be using mainly brushes, but there are going to be some times where you're going to see me using my fingers, and that is absolutely okay. As long as your hands are sanitized, it is okay to use your fingers. Another reason why I like to use fingers is because I want to feel that the primer is on her skin and it feels smooth everywhere, that I'm not skipping over anything, and that the brushes are not streaking on the skin. I just want it perfect. Without a perfect base, you're not going to get a perfect face. I made that up. Do you like it? Okay, we are primed. Foundation, I'm going to use Studio Fix Fluid in NC44. I do not carry every color in my kits. I only have maybe 5 shades or less. And what I do is I just kind of mix them along. If I need to add some dark, I'll add some dark. If I need to add some light, I'll add some light. No big deal. Again, like I said it earlier, and to those of you who didn't hear me earlier, I like to just stay calm during the whole process. I don't care if it's not 100% match as long as it's balanced with the rest of her skin. How I'm applying it is with this lovely brush here. This is MAC, I believe it's 187, 157. It's a dual fiber brush. I use it so much that the whole indentation even rubbed off, so I can't really see the number, but it's the dual fiber brush, the large one from MAC. A lot of companies make this. They're all good as long as they're nice and dense. And what I do is I pick up a little bit of product with just the tips of the bristles. I am not digging into a mountain of product. I do not want this to look like paint. I want it to look airbrushed, but I don't like airbrush machines. So I have to fake it using the tip of the brush, and what I'm doing is I'm just stippling it on her skin. That way, I don't have to use as much product, but I'm getting a full coverage and the maximum effect out of the little product that I'm using. And I always, always, always make sure that I'm covering everything, just not the eyelids. when you're doing it from scratch, but everywhere else. Go ahead and go like this. Yeah, thank you. The other trick with foundation is to make sure that you have perfected one area before moving on to another area. So now that I've perfected this, I'm going to move on to this. Instead of dotting it everywhere and then blending, which can be uneven because when you're dotting something and then blending later, you're risking the first few dots to, they might be getting dried up and a little bit harder to blend out in a nice even fashion. So that's one thing. And another thing is what I've noticed is when people dot everywhere and then try to blend, sometimes you skip over really important places that you may not have seen before because your eyes are kind of all over the place. So if you focus on one area at a time, you'll be more focused in general and make sure that the rest of the face is looking absolutely perfect. Now I got the forehead. To those of you who just logged in, we just got started. I used the original MAC Prep and Prime primer, which has no SPF and no shimmer in it. And now I'm using MAC Studio Fix Fluid. What I'm doing now is I'm just using my brush flatly to push all the products into her skin so that it doesn't look like it's just sitting on top. I want this to be a flawless, flawless finish. Now, whatever is left on the brush, I'm going to be using on the neck. Even though it's already a good match and it's not like we're trying to hide anything on the neck, when you're taking pictures, the face will look different than the neck unless all of it has some makeup on it. So I'm not asking you to put more foundation on the neck. I'm just saying whatever's left on the brush, go ahead and rub it on the neck. So now that the foundation is done, we are going to use some concealer right around the eye area and any other area that needs a little bit more coverage. And this is the concealer brush that I use. This is from MAC as well. I'm trying to keep things easy and just use maybe one brand, maybe two brands of brushes for now, and then we can always have a little bit more fun later. This is the MAC 287 brush, and it is also a dual fiber brush, but it's flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have concealer on one side of the brush, and I'm going to press it on like this under her eyes. And I'm going to use the brush flat. So I'm not jabbing her eye like this. I'm going to press it flatly with the brush so that she doesn't cry and I'm not injuring the poor girl. So we're going to use it like this, and we're only going to use thin layers at a time so that everything looks flawless. So the concealer that I love for the eye area, for her in particular, is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I'm going to use NC42. I love this color because it has a little hint of apricot and it brightens up the under eye. So right now I have a little bit of NC42 of the Pro Longwear Concealer, and I'm just taking a small little bit of it with my brush on one side of the brush, and then go ahead and look up. I'm just going to pat it down. And I'm doing this flatly. I'm not jabbing at her this way. I'm doing it flatly. If I want to layer it, I can always layer it. I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about dark circles. I work with a lot of Indian and Middle Eastern skin, and we all have dark circles. So the way to combat it is not necessarily just using a lighter color concealer, because what happens is if you just go too light, it's going to look gray and it's going to look very, very ashy. So the trick is to actually use an orange-based concealer to cancel out all those blue tones in the skin and brighten up the dark circles that way. And then you can always use a lighter powder around the area to set it if you want to re-brighten. So I like the color NC42 for that particular thing, because, which is what I'm using on Laura right now, because it already has a little bit of that apricot tone built in. I mean, look how oh my god, girl, it looks so nice. Yeah, so just with a little bit of concealer, I mean, as you can tell, Laura doesn't need a lot of makeup at all, but if she had really, really bad dark circles, we could have used even a more orange color, which, like I have a palette from MAC as well that has some orange tones in it. Oh, I gave it to someone right now, but anyway, it has, it's called the Pro Conceal palette, and it has oranges and yellows and stuff like that, so I would use orange. If you have really dark circles that have like green and blue in them, I do not recommend using a yellow concealer, because yellow on top of blue is only going to make green. It's not going to control the blue at all. It's actually going to make it look more green and more funny looking, or even ashy. So what I recommend again is going to the apricot tones, the orange tones, and that's actually going to cancel out the color that you're trying to correct. And then you can always even out the skin tone with their own color foundation or concealer over it if you want to layer. Okay, so now we have this lovely, lovely highlighted under eye. This is not the highlight step though. This is just concealer. And it already did an amazing job because we chose a color that had a little bit of orange in it. So it looks brighter on camera and in person. Already looking amazing. And then whatever's left on my hand, I'm going to do a little bit around the nostril, because this is a hard to reach area with a larger foundation brush. I just want to make sure that everything's looking amazing around the nose as well. Also, the nose tends to get very slippery and very oily soon, so having a little bit of extra prolong wear concealer around there is not a bad idea at all. And then a little bit around the mouth, just a little bit. Okay? Are we ready to move on to the next step? This is the big one. This is the highlight and contour. All right. So, as many of you guys know, I absolutely love the LA Girl Pro Conceal for highlighting and contouring with cream products. I'm going to get in so I can talk to you guys. So basically, LA Girl Pro Conceal looks like this. It is a tube. It has a brush applicator, which is super easy. I usually just disinfect it and use it straight on my clients, or you can use a separate brush for it. And I like to draw the whole contour map and highlight map with these. Now, because I know Laura and I've been working with her for a little while now, and I know her colors really well, I know that the NC42 in MAC is a good highlight for her, so that's what I'm going to use as her highlight. But for her contour, I'm going with this baby, which is the LA Girl Pro Conceal in Beautiful Bronze. That is like my color. I use it on everyone because it's really dark, but if you use it on a lighter person, you could always just blend it a little bit extra, and it'll blend in really nice with their foundation. So I always do foundation first, and then I put this on so that when I'm blending the contour and the highlight, that it's actually melting into the foundation, and it looks more seamless that way. When you're using it straight on clean skin, you have to be a little bit more careful with the gradient and the blending. So this way, it's a lot easier to get it done. I'm going to show you the highlight first, and then we're going to go into this for the contour. As far as color recommendations, definitely go on the website to find out the whole rainbow of colors and see swatches. A lot of us have swatched them as well on Instagram. You could search hashtags on Instagram. You could search LA Girl Pro Conceal swatches or whatever, and I'm sure a bunch of pictures will come up so you can see every color and know what you want to get. And they're super cheap. I mean, you can get them as low as like maybe $3 or something like that for this. It's just such a good investment to buy all of them if that's how cheap it is, but totally up to you guys. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go into the NC42 again as her highlight, and I'm going to use that same concealer brush that we used before, and I'm going to show you exactly how I highlight Laura. So this is kind of how I highlight everyone also. I mean, highlight is one of those things that can be very universal. The contour part is what I kind of change up depending on who I'm working with, so I'll explain that later. So we're going to make a line straight down the center of the nose with this highlight. I don't want the line to be too thick. Let me see if I can get this even closer. Sorry. Okay, so I don't want the line to be too wide. I want it to be a nice thin line going down the center of her nose to sharpen up the bridge. I'm also going to make that line go across her arch, so it stops right at the arch of her eyebrow. So remember, line down the nose, line to the arch of the eyebrow. So lining to the arch. And then we're going to fan with the same width of that arch line all the way across on the forehead. So that is going to bring a little bit of lightness to the beginnings of the forehead. Do not bring the line all the way up to the hairline, because over here we're going to be doing a little bit of contouring. So we don't want to mix the highlight and the contour together necessarily. Now, here's where things change a little bit. If someone has a small forehead, a small space, and maybe just to here, then in that case, you don't want to contour the forehead too much. You want to focus more on the highlight because you want to make the forehead look a little bit more proportioned to the rest of the face. So the most you would contour is maybe just on the side of the forehead and leave this alone if their forehead is very small. If they have a larger forehead, then you want to do more contouring and less highlight to minimize the size of the forehead and to balance it with the rest of the features. So larger forehead, contour more, highlight less. Smaller forehead, highlight more, contour less. But Laura's perfect. So we are going to do the whole highlight and contour. So I can show you both. So we have this lovely little shape going on. We're also going to draw a line going from the corner of the eye to the corner of the mouth, which is basically going to rest right on our laugh line. I need more product. And we're going to connect this line to the top of the cheekbone. So I make a line right here, right on the top of the cheekbone, not below the cheekbone, but right on top. And I'm connecting it with the corner of the mouth. And now we're going to fill in. I don't need to fill in under her eye because I've already put concealer there. So, and it's the same concealer, so I don't need to do that all over again all the way up here. But the triangle I'm trying to create right now. So do you guys see that okay? Yeah, I think so. Cool. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. This line, thank you. So line from the corner of the eye to the corner of the mouth, connect, and fill in. This brush number, in case you missed it, is 287 from MAC. And the product is Pro Longwear Concealer in NC42. And I'm just kind of going under the nostril as well. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight the Cupid's bow. So the peak of the Cupid's bow is going to be highlighted. It's going to make the lips look more pouty. And lastly, we're going to highlight the chin. And here's something that, another thing that I change up. If my client has a larger chin, if my client has a larger chin, I don't highlight as much. I usually leave it alone and maybe add a little bit of contour. If my client has a smaller chin, I'll go ahead and highlight a little bit more to create that point. So I'm just doing a little highlight there. And another thing I wanted to touch base with you guys on, I know there's a lot of different ways to highlight and contour. There's so many different ways. And I've seen a ton on Instagram too, ways that I've been shocked about and it ended up looking really nice, and ways that I knew already. You know, there's so many. What I'm trying to say is there's not just one right way of contour and highlight. I'm just showing you my way, which is one of the millions of ways to do it. My way I like only because it's just, if it's my preference. My preference is not to do that other side white line here, which a lot of people do to increase the contrast in between when they do the contour line here. Have you guys seen it where they do the contour line here and then they do another highlight line down here to make it pop more? I actually skip that step because in flash photography, and this is me speaking as a photographer as well, in flash photography, you see that white cast, and I don't want to see that. To me, it looks
more artificial. I know I do cake face makeup, there's nothing natural about this, but I don't want lines to show out of nowhere, and especially a light line here, which can make it look like a bigger jaw, and I may not necessarily want my clients to look like they have a bigger jaw. So I try to keep that as minimized as possible, and I focus more on the highlighting in the core, the center core of the face, rather than the outer portions, if that makes sense. And we'll talk more about that in the Q&A if you guys have any questions. So highlight is done. I'm going right into contour now. This is the really, really, really fun part. I am squeezing out some product from the HD Pro Conceal right on my hand, just like this. Now I'm using the brush that it comes with to go ahead and draw my contour lines. Okay, so I'm making a line now. I'm imagining that there is a ruler from the top of her ear going towards the corner of her mouth. So as if the ruler was helping me guide my line, this is where the angle would be, right in through there. So I'm now going to thicken the line, make it stronger, and the point is I want this top part to be thicker and darker, and I want it to disappear before it hits anywhere near the mouth. I don't want it actually connecting to the mouth because that will look a little bit alien-like. So we want to keep them just looking very feminine and soft, so it's got to disappear before her laugh line area. We're going to do the same on the other side. Imagine that there's a line from the top of the ear going towards the corner of the mouth. And we're going to thicken and darken this part and make sure that this stays really, really light, almost like it's disappearing. Okay? You can see that really strong and nice. And the other side, really strong and nice. Actually, I could even thicken this a little bit more, as long as this part is nice and thin. Okay? Now we're going to do the forehead. So I'm going to have you sit back a little bit. Yeah, perfect. I like to fill in the temple with some dark. I like a nice 3D effect, so I'm going to darken this part. So another way that you can think of it as, first half of the eyebrow is highlighted, and the second half of the eyebrow I am actually contouring. So we're going to do the same on the other side. The whole temple zone, I'm going to go ahead and contour. And now I'm going to just take care of her hairline. So I've now added dashes of contour along the hairline. As far as the actual lines are made, as long as you have the product in the right place, I don't care how you're drawing your lines. You can make one fat line, you can make millions of small lines. At the end of the day, it's all going to be blended. It doesn't matter how beautiful your lines are, as long as the product is in the right zone. I've seen some very fancy, beautiful pictures of contouring, and it's literally like works of art. But in the real world, we're on a time crunch, and we just got to get stuff on our client's face and get the hell out. Ooh, I said the H word! If anyone is under 13, I'm very sorry. Okay. Now, we're going to take the eyebrow, the beginnings of the eyebrow, and drag a line all the way down to the sides of her nose. I'm not going to put the contour all the way on the sides of the nose. I'm going to kind of go almost a little bit on top of the nose, but on the corner, the top corner of the nose, if that makes sense. So basically, you see her highlight line? Right on the sides of her highlight line, I'm going to hug right up against that highlight line and go straight up and down. Even though our noses are usually skinnier here and wider here, I'm going to make my line super straight all the way up and down. I'm going to ignore any imperfections. I'm going to ignore any curves. I'm just going to make straight lines. And I'm going to make sure it's very skinny and hugging up right up against that highlight. That's how I like to do my noses. Especially, let's say if you have a client with a crooked nose. Let's say the nose is going in one direction. When you make straight lines going down, it will help to minimize any type of imbalance on the nose. So let's just do it. Okay, so I'm going to hug up right up against that highlight line and make a straight line all the way down. So that was a straight line all the way down her nose. I didn't go all the way to the side. I went kind of on top. Same with here. Straight line all the way down. Now, Don't forget to connect the bottom. You don't want a hanging white tip. So always connect the bottom. And we're going to connect a little bit on the top. To those of you who are not familiar with why we're going to connect the top, it's to prevent the nose from looking like it's going down for miles and miles. When there's two lines on the side of your nose, you're making it look skinnier, and at the same time, you're making it look longer. So to prevent it from looking too long, you have to do a little bit of visual breaks. So the line on the bottom of her nose and the line on the top of the tip of the nose is that visual break for us, so that it doesn't look like it's just going on and on and on. We have a perfectly proportioned nose with the cutie pie tip, and that's what we're sticking with. Okay. Next, aside from the main portions, which are the cheeks, the forehead, and the nose, we're also going to do a little bit of contouring right in the center of the lip. That's the dip of the Cupid's bow, and that's going to give her a little bit more dimension there. And then also right on the bottom of her lip line to give it a little bit more of a contour. And then also, if you want to turn here, we're also going to do a little bit of darkness on the jawline. Some of you are saying that the ring light is too close to the face, so I'm going to back it up, but the only problem is the webcam is attached to the ring light. So I just don't want it to be too far. Let me see if the blinds will help. We're going to, did that help at all? I don't think that makes a huge difference. I think pushing it back makes the biggest difference, but then I don't want you guys to feel like you can't see the details. Can you guys see the details? Are we good? How about this? We'll keep it like this, and on times that I really need you to see detail, I'll have Laura come a little bit closer to the light. That's not going to make a huge difference. The ring light is very strong, so it's the ring light that makes it really bright. So I hope that's better. Just back it up a little bit. Okay, I think we'll be all right. Anytime that I want you guys to really see something close up, we're going to physically go closer to the camera so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'll also demonstrate on my hand. Okay, so again, jawline. I don't like too much on the jawline. I just want a little bit to cast a little bit of a shadow. So far, so good. So, recapping what we did so far, I want to make sure all of us are on the same page. We started off with primer. Our primer was MAC Prep and Prime, the original, no SPF, no shimmer. We put that on with our fingers to feel the client's face, to have that connection with our client, and to also take control of the situation and not feel so disconnected, and to also feel to make sure that the product is going on nice and evenly all over the face. Next, we took our duo fiber brush, the large one from MAC, and stippled on some foundation all over her face. Not a whole lot, it was one very even layer. We also brought it a little bit down to the neck to even out the balance of the skin. After foundation, which by the way, we used MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NC44. Once we did the foundation, we did the concealer. And the concealer that I used is NC42 from MAC Pro Longwear Collection. And I used brush number 287, I believe, for that. And I did it in a stamping motion as well. After concealer was done, we went ahead and used that same product, the same concealer, to brighten up all of the highlight areas of the face, which you can see all over her face. The light parts is the highlight, which is the NC42 concealer as well, which just works really well for her. We can go lighter, no big deal. And then the contour areas are with my absolute favorite, LA Girl Cosmetics HD Pro Conceal, which actually has a very similar finish as the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, and a fraction of the cost. So that's always a plus for us makeup artists who are constantly buying makeup for our kit. And we use that for all of her contour areas around. So you can see the map. We have all of our beautiful angles, a nice straight nose, nice high cheekbones. Everything is totally in proportion Now all we have to do is blend it. And I know that's where a lot of you guys are having trouble, because we are all posting pictures of the contour and highlight map. I'm sure you've seen it a million times on my page, but how do you actually blend it to make it look just as good as the photographs that I'm posting? So the trick is to not over blend. I cannot stress this enough, how much people learn about blend, 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 and the word is just blend. And when you over blend, you actually are creating a very blah canvas. So you lose your definition and you lose your product coverage. So what I would like to see is almost blending. So here's my little trick. I use this brush from MAC, which is the brush number 130. It is the baby, short, and stout version of the larger foundation brush that I use on her. And I use this to not really circle or blend like this. I use it to push in products for the highlight portions. So right now her highlight portions, what I'm doing is just with a clean brush, I'm just pushing it back into her skin. I just want to make sure that the edges of the product don't look so harsh. So if that means I need to use my fingers, then so be it. I'm going to use my fingers to fade away the edges of the product, but I'll use the brush to actually push in the rest of the product to make sure that I'm not actually wiping it off. So what I'm doing is I'm letting the product melt into her foundation layer. I'm not wiping it off. I'm not removing yet. We may have to do that later. So forehead, I'm just using this brush like an eraser, but not really erasing. I'm doing more of a push in motion. And for the edges, I can use my fingertips to make sure that everything's looking flawless. You're gonna notice I use my hands a lot. I love using my fingers to blend because I feel like that's your most valuable tool. Okay, and now this side. Push, push, push. I don't want to see any crazy lines in between, so I am going to do a little bit of a wiping motion. And now the chin, pushing all that highlight in. Okay, and then for the nose, I go back to my little baby brush, the smaller concealer brush that we used earlier. And I'm just pushing it flatly on her nose. So maybe you can get a little closer for this part. Yeah. I'm just doing this. And what that's doing is it's just melting the product again, melting it into the skin so that it doesn't look like a blanket of product just sitting right on top. And you could totally use your fingers for smaller areas too. Just don't use it with too much pressure. When I'm using my fingers, I'm going very light, just like feather, like a feather, like just light, light strokes, because I do not want to remove all of the good stuff that we put on earlier. Okay, and then now for the sides, the Cupid's bow, I can use this. And now we're ready to blend the darker zones. So you can sit back, relax. I'm going to use something for the darker zones real quick. So back to our lovely secret weapon brush, number 130 from MAC. I love how dense it is. We're going to use the same brush. I just wiped it on a little paper towel. And I'm going to use the same brush to now push in the product into her foundation. So I'm pushing in the contour areas. The point is we don't want to spread it too much because I want it to stay in this nice angle that I applied it. So I'm just pushing it in until it starts to melt. And if I see that I need a little bit more help with it melting, I'll use my fingers just to let the edges overlap slightly. This is a very, very advanced way of contouring. I don't expect everyone to do this daily. I sure don't do it daily. But it is a really fun way to do your clients or to do your own makeup to make you look basically photoshopped, literally. It's like real life Photoshop. So the jawline, I'm basically really wiping it off. I don't know if you noticed, I wasn't really pushing it in. I'm doing more of a wiping motion because the last thing I need is for Laura to go on the red carpet, turn this way, and there's a big old brown line here. I want everything to be seamless and perfect. So I'm making sure that I'm actually pushing the contour down a little bit so it looks more seamless. But over here, I push it in. I want her cheekbones to pop. Okay, now the forehead. I'm pushing that back in. And I'm going to use my fingers a little bit because some of the product has already dried. So I can totally use the warmth of my fingers to get it to go again. So no freaking out, guys. If your product is drying on the skin and you're like, oh my God, it's not blending right, don't freak out. Use your fingers. It is all good. Just don't wipe too hard. Be gentle. And now for the hairline, I'm just buffing the product around the hairline. And I'm going to use my fingers to also smooth it out. I don't want to see any brown globs anywhere. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Making sure all of this is nice and smooth. Blending the edges by using our fingers to just let the line blur out. And we are going to basically erase the jawline because I don't want no weird pictures with a brown line on the side of her. Okay, that's looking really good. And now the side of the forehead. Push that in. Roll your finger over it. Make sure it's blending into the hairline. There's no like white streak before you go into the hairline. Make sure everything looks seamless and beautiful. Okay, let's see how you look on camera. Why don't you go a little closer and turn from side to side. We've not done the nose yet. The nose is not contoured or highlighted. I mean, it is contoured and highlighted. It's not been blended yet. So we're going to use a smaller brush for those areas, but she is now modeling the lovely sculpted look that we've given her during this time. If you have any issues with the lighting, please do let us know. We can try to fix it as much as possible. I want to make sure all of you guys can see it perfectly. And you know, when she gets closer, you can see all the details and stuff. When she gets farther away, then you can see more of the overall balance. So throughout the classes, we are gonna move in close and move back. Looking good. All right, let's do the nose. So going back to my concealer brush, and I love using just the same brushes over and over. I mean, I have every brush in the world, but I'm very fuss-free. I like a simple kit, and I like simple brushes. And I'm using this now to scoop in the contour. So earlier, we tapped in all the highlight, and that's already blended in, but the contour isn't. So what I'm doing is I'm using the side of the brush to just scoop down that line. I'm not doing this. I'm not dragging it down to the side of her nose. I don't want to show brown here and here. I want that line to be strong. So I'm only going up and down that line. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Go this way. You could totally use your fingers in case everything is dried up already. And now I'm going to scoop into this little dip right here on the lip. And lastly, that line that we made underneath her bottom lip, we're smoothing that out. So now all of her contour and highlight has been blended. However, we still need to set it with powders, and to add a little bit more refinement, we're going to use powder contour and highlight products as well. So I'm going to go over all of that so you can get a nice close look at what it looks like right now without any powder. This is the sculpted finish of the face. So now we're gonna set it. We're gonna use Studio Fix powders as well as my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit to now set and refine these gorgeous features. First things first, I'm going to use Studio Fix powder in a light color to set all of her highlight zones. So basically overall, you want at least 3 colors of powder to use right now. You want a light color powder to use to set all the highlight zones, a medium color powder to set all the in-between zones, and a dark color powder to set all the darker zones. So I have a bunch of different Studio Fix powders that I can use for her range. And I also have the amazing, I cannot wait till they sell this whole thing as a book, but I have the amazing contour book from Anastasia that has every color of the highlight and contour powders that she makes. So we're going to use that too. For now, I'm going to set her highlight zones with NC42 powder. I don't want to go too white, so that's why I chose this powder. Go ahead and look all the way up to the ceiling. What I'm doing is I'm setting it with a nice, soft, but firm and small brush. The brush that I'm using is number 227. It's firm, but it's soft. And it fits the under eye so perfectly. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a lot of powder and I'm just setting it very heavily on all the highlight zones. So right now I'm focusing on that triangle that we made earlier, and we're filling in that triangle. So we have that. Do the other side. And it's all in a patting motion. Every few stamps, I'm coming back and I'm grabbing more product and going back in and stamping it, because if you just keep stamping without re-dipping into more product, you're running out of product on your brush. So what's the point in stamping when there's nothing to stamp? So always keep in mind, you need product when you're stamping, so just keep grabbing it. I'm also going to cover up the side of her nose with this color up until the contour line. And we're going to do the sides of the Cupid bow. We're going to do the whole chin with this one. And forehead. From arch to arch and all the in-between semicircle. So pat, pat, pat. And very carefully stamping along the center of the bridge of the nose. So now we have mattified and increase the flawless finish of the highlight zones. Now we're going to do the same with the contour zones. We're going to use a darker powder, I would say NC45. It's just a few shades darker than the original. And I'm going to use number 138 brush from MAC. It's a tapered powder brush. And I'm just going to swirl the tip of the brush into this product, give it a little shake, and very lightly, I'm going to just dust it on the contour area right underneath her cheekbone. This is just setting the contour portion of the face. I'm doing the same with the jawline as well, but not too heavy. We're also going to contour the sides of the forehead and very little on the hairline. Basically the same thing that we did with the creams, we're now setting it with the powders. Okay, this way. And don't forget to roll it down to the neck a little bit. You get the sides of the forehead and a little bit in the hairline. Okay, so now the contour areas have been set, and we're going to go in with a smaller brush to set the sides of the nose with the same powder. This is a very interesting brush I bought. It kind of looks like a toothbrush, but the fibers are nice and soft. And this is one of those limited edition MAC brushes. It's the number 3, oval number 3 from MAC. And what I'm doing is I'm just barely dipping it in to this powder, and I'm just going to lightly stamp it down the sides of the nose. This is setting the nose contour. And it does that little thing at the tip, which is so nice. So let's get a little closer. I'll repeat the movement so you guys can see it. I am just very lightly. I'm not trying to wipe off anything, so I'm not doing it in a scrubby motion. What I'm doing is more of a patting and sliding motion like that. I'm going to do the same on this side, kind of a patting motion here, and then sliding down here, and then a little bit of a tip there. Okay? Now, we are going to do the middle color for the in-between zones. That's where I'm going to whip out my contour book. Okay, I'm going to have you just hold this on your lap because it's so huge. Okay. There is another brush that I like for the medium powder that we're going to use. This is number 109 from MAC. It's a nice round brush. And I'm going to use this with, which color? I'm going to use it with Golden Peach. And I'm going to apply that along her highlight area a little bit just to re-brighten it. And I'm going to use a darker color such as Macchiato sounds good. In case you guys haven't guessed, I do things in a very visual manner. So I don't go in to a client knowing exactly what colors I'm going to use. I also don't even keep a client card. Like I don't write down, like knowing that she's one of my clients, I don't write down what her color is. I know that usually helps a lot of stylists, especially in salons, to write down your clients' colors and stuff. But I know that my clients are going to change throughout the seasons and tan and do all this other stuff. I am just visual. If I feel like using something, I'm just going to use it. If I think it's going to work out great, wonderful. I have every color that I can play with to make sure that it doesn't look all crazy. So I'm a very visual person. So right now what I just did is I blurred out the lines from between the contour and highlight. So we're using a medium color. So here's the contour, here's the highlight. Right in between, we're using a medium color, which basically blurs the line between the contour and the highlight, so it looks more seamless and more believable that this is just how the face structure looks. We're going to use more on the other side. So basically here's the contour line, here's the highlight, and right in between we're using that medium color, which is what I'm using right now is the Macchiato from the new contour collection from AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com. And it gives you more of a range now that we have all these colors available to us to find more medium shades instead of just dark and just light. Don't forget here. So we have like a rainbow, right? We have the semicircle of light and we have a rainbow of dark. So right in between the rainbow, we're going to put that medium Macchiato. So right in between the rainbow from arch to arch is where Macchiato goes. Lastly, we want to smooth out the nose a little bit. We don't want it to be too contoured and too fake looking. So I put on a nice little layer of that medium color, and I even overlap it with the side of the nose contour so that it looks more natural. It's not going to delete the fact that we did a contour there. It's just going to soften it. Also, pressing in extra powder on the sides of the nose will prevent too much sweating in that area. So, looking good so far. Let me take a good look at you from this side. Okay, cool. Lastly, there's one more area that we need to finish, which is right here. We have not put any powder here, and we have to in order for her face to last all night long. So over here we did contour, but we just did a little bit of highlight here, but we didn't go all the way up here. So with the same medium color, I'm just going to go in and set her upper jaw area. Now we're going to be completely set. Her whole face is set. Her neck looks nice and even. We could even add a little bit of powder to her neck area as well, but we'll skip on that for now. And now you can see this amazing gradient. If you want a brighter highlight, there's a brush that I use MAC 189. It's amazing. I have to show you. There we go. It's like a paddle. It's so cool. MAC 189. And it's very soft. Like my clients love it when I use this brush on them. It feels like a facial, but it's like huge. You wouldn't think that this is something that you could actually use all the time. I used it because I like the feel of it and I like to try things, and I don't believe in rules. If someone says, oh, this brush is for this, sorry, I'm going to end up using it on like 18 different things and see what I like. So this is what I end up liking it for. I like it for highlight. So I'm going to dip it into a lighter color. Even, Golden Peach from the Anastasia collection, from the contour stuff, makes an amazing highlight. It's actually a nice soft peachy shade. Oh, you can't even see that. It's a nice soft peachy shade. And we're going to use that to further brighten the under eye. I don't know if you can see this, but it looks heavenly. It just looks like bam, highlight. So on my brides and on my clients that don't like a whole lot of contrast in between their light and dark, I won't do this extra step. For those who like that extra contrast and a little bit more of a pop, I'll go ahead and add another layer of super bright and super dark. So this is my super bright for her. I'm just adding a nice layer of this throughout. And I'm also going to use a nice thin layer of this on the center bridge of the nose here. And I'm going to make sure I'm wiping off these sides because I don't want that to be light at all. So now we have a little bit more brightening on the center zone of her face. And whatever's left on my brush, I'm just re-brightening just the middle part of her forehead right here, closest to her brows. Okay, so now we're done with that. If we want to really bronze her up and really darken the sides of her face, we can do that with darker colors as well. There's a brush from Haku Hodo. This is the one that I was saying it's not from MAC. It's Haku Hodo, Hakuhodo. And this brush number is J5521. And it looks like this. It's a nice, soft, little tapered brush. And I use it to really go nuts with the contour. So sometimes I'll use a color called Copper Brown. I'm going to have you turn a little bit, and now I'm going to go really nuts with the contouring. Now that we already have that beautiful gradient of color and it's all blended here, when we add a little bit of this dark, it's not going to take much to blend it. Once I make my line, I'm now going to use this brush and flip it up like this to let it just overlap with that previous color. And that's all I need to do with blending. I don't have to sit here and go bam, 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 keep going until it's like super hard to blend. I'm just applying a nice thin layer and rolling it up. And now it has a little bit more definition. I'm going to do the same on the other side so you guys can take a look. Right in here, making my line, a little bit more color, and I'm rolling it up. Roll, roll, roll. And whatever's left on my brush, maybe I want to darken up the sides of her forehead too. So I'll do that as well. When I'm darkening up features, I don't go back to the nose and darken that up. I really want the nose to look natural. So I only really darken up the outer portions of her cheekbones and the outer portions of her forehead. And then whatever's left on the brush, I can roll and smooth out everything, make sure it all looks even. When you're rolling and doing this, what I just did, I'm doing it like feather light. I'm not pressing hard on her skin. I don't want to ruin all the hard work I did. So whatever's left on this brush with the bronzer, I'm just rolling a little bit over some of the highlighted portions so it looks even. This is an optional step in case you feel like the face looks too ghostly. So now we're just kind of evening out the highlights. So that's basically it. That was like a crap load of information that I just gave you about highlight and contour. And I also added in foundation and concealer as a bonus to this class because I know without the right foundation and concealer, you're not going to get the perfect contoured look. So there you go. We used cream products and we used powder products, and we made the best look possible with those two things. Keep in mind, we still haven't done any shimmer, and we still haven't done any blush, and we still haven't done any kind of like a deeper bronzer. We just used the contour book from Anastasia Beverly Hills, which also has bronzing colors. But I'm going to get more into detail on that in the next class, which is on the class schedule. That next class, again, is going to go over highlights with the shimmer. So basically from here, it's going to be adding a shimmer up here. It's going to be touching about blushes that I like and how to apply blush in a perfect way. So I'll be doing that in the next class, and then as well as bronzing all over the skin and giving you that really sexy sun-kissed look. So that will be chapter 2, the next class. So at this time, I want to thank Laura for being my first live model. I am just so happy that she was able to come. And, you know, even with our delay, I mean, she just waited it out with us. We were ready since like 10 a.m. And I know that you guys all waited for this, and we were waiting too, and Laura was waiting so patiently. She got some work done on her phone in the meantime, and we just rolled with it. And she's still here with us, and she's looking amazing. And so just thank you. Thank you for being here. Amazing. So I know you probably are wondering what's the rest of her makeup like. Let me just fix up your lip gloss a little bit. And then I want to talk about the rest of the makeup before I let you exit. So I had a bunch of things that I've been using lately, but on Laura I have like my favorite staple items. One of them for her lips is Morning Coffee Lip Liner from MAC. I just use it along the edges of her lips, give her that sexy, sexy pout. We covered some of it during the powder packing, so I'm just going to read you that right now. And the lipstick is from my friend Makeup by Anna. She created Dose of Colors. So Dose of Colors on Instagram. This is a lipstick called Angelic. It is a gorgeous peach tone. So I just use a light layer of that throughout her lips. And then I top it off with my, I just bought this recently. I really like it. It's a nude lip gloss called Wanting More from MAC. It's like a pastel kind of a nude. And I'm just using that right on top. Okay. So, Laura, if you want to get a closer, give them a closer view of you, and I will talk about what else is on her face. So again, this is not a finished face. We have absolutely no blush and no shimmer on her. This is a completely mattified look. Once we add shimmer and blush, her skin will look super dewy. She's not going to be my model for the next one. Someone else is, and I'll announce that later. But for that one, you'll notice how I go from matte to super dewy, that JLo glow. That's going to be in the next chapter. Right now, we just did the contour and the highlights. So anyway, on the eyes, I have a few of my favorite products. Of course, I used the Tamana palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And if you want to close your eyes, I'll explain what we put where. So we have the Noir in the outer corner. We have Sangria right in here. We have a mix of Bengal and chocolate in the crease. And we have Gilded all across her entire lid with a hint of China Rose to give her that rose gold effect. So Gilded and China Rose all over the lid, Sangria, which is the cranberry kind of a shade, on the outer corner, the transition shade, and then on the outer edge of the corner is the Noir. On the inner tear duct, it's actually Gold Mine from MAC, and that color is just like a yellow gold. And I applied that just on the tear duct. Go ahead and open your eyes. And you can see that little bright band right in the inner tear duct. So that's that. And then underneath, I also added Noir and chocolate to give her a little bit of a bronzy effect underneath her eyes. And then the shimmer that you see on her eyelid is actually Goldie Glitter from Shop Violet Voss. And I used that by mixing a little bit of gel, adhering gel base, mixing with the loose glitter, and apply it on her eye. On her eyebrows, it is just Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in Ebony. And that is her shade. So I used Ebony.
and I used it with the a small angled brush also from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I believe number 11 is the brush that I have. And her eyeliner is Inglot Gel eyeliner. And her lashes are Annabelle lashes from Flutter Lashes. And her mascara is Lancome Hypnos Drama.